This video is cram-packed full of fun Dollar Tree DIYs, perfect for this Christmas and holiday season when you just want to sit back and have fun crafting in these winter months.
I have been sharing these vintage style lanterns on my channel forever. I used to put them on like the oil heater bases and I love these. So I thought it'd be fun to actually put it on a clear base so we could decorate. So Dollar Tree had out these fun little jars and they have like a unique little shape. It actually has the shape of like an original like vintage oil lamp. So this was perfect. I filled it up with faux snow, pine cones, berries, and some greenery, and then glued this top vase down in place. And this instantly looks like a gorgeous lamp that I put together for like $2.50. So the secret to this is picking up these LED candles. Now I get a lot of questions every time I use these, how am I gluing it down in the bottom? But it has a removable vase, so when you glue this down, you're still able to pop the candle in and out to remove the batteries or turn it on. So just glued that down in place and then added a ribbon. I added a couple of jingle bells to the front. These didn't want to stay. I had to hold them in place until the glue cooled off, but a super cute project that I'll get to use for years to come. It fits down inside of that little jar perfectly, but absolutely gorgeous, being clear so you can decorate however you want inside the base. I just shared a huge video on how to use these clear mugs for Christmas. If you haven't checked out that video, I'll leave it linked down below. But another fun way is if you pair it with a clear plate, like a mini little saucer plate from Dollar Tree, you can actually attach any style or color fabric to the bottom and really give it that pop of color. So Dollar Tree has out tons of Christmas fabric right now. Grab it whenever you see any. This specific fabric actually came from Walmart. I love going in there because they also offer little like fat quarters, it's called, to get it in these little pre-cut sections for very inexpensive. So I Mod Podge that underneath the plate, let that completely dry, and then I'm actually pouring a candle into the mug. So you could use any type of candle that you have if you have a better quality one. I'm just sticking with these cheap Dollar Tree candles, and I melt down a couple of them on my stove, pour it into this mug, let it completely cool off because you don't want to handle it while the wax is still wet. It'll splash around, and then I'm going to decorate around it. So I put some of this faux greenery around the bottom and then just use a couple of floral picks that I had to cut off the little berries, or you could add anything that you would like. But I think this is so cute. It's kind of a whimsical fun piece. Kind of reminds me of like the Grinch or Dr. Seuss with those big polka dots, but how cute is this? I love it, and I love that pop of red color. Next up, you can add spackling to any of these MDF signs to really elevate the look, make it look so much nicer than just painting these with regular acrylic or chalk paint, and just give it a really fun textured look. So for this one, I picked up a Santa. I went ahead and tried to remove the little nose and mustache, and then started to paint the base. So I went ahead and made sure that I wanted to go ahead and paint it white, even though I am going to be covering this because spackling does have a tend to crack, or you could miss spots. I do want the white underneath, and then went ahead and painted the face and the hat and let this completely dry before adding on any of my spackling. For this project, you wouldn't have to put your spackling in an icing bag, but I already had some in there, so I thought it would be an easy way to apply it, and it actually let me make this like really swirly effect that I was going for. Now you want to make sure that you're not getting this too thick because spackling does add a lot of weight. It's heavy and it tends to crack if you get it super thick, but I'm just going ahead and trying to smudge as much of this spackling as I can on the beard without having to use too much. So after that dries, you can see how gorgeous and fluffy this looks, but it is more of an off-white color, so I do go in and add some white paint and then put his little nose in place so I could see where I needed to draw the eyes. I just pulled up on Pinterest like a Santa painted face. I could kind of look at some ideas of how I wanted to do his eyes. I just used a Sharpie and then went in with the back of a paintbrush to add the little white dots, and then just brightening up this white color because it does dry like an off-white color. And then just hot glued down his little mustache, and I think this is absolutely adorable. I added the little hanger back at the top, added some little greenery and berries, but this is such a cute fun piece, and I think even added to a sign would make it even better. Next up, you can use one of these 98-cent stockings. Now these are just felt plain stockings, and make it over into a gorgeous ice skate. So I feel like the number one thing that's really going to make this look like an ice skate is putting the little blade at the bottom. So I'm using just a cheap 30-cent piece of felt from Walmart, and I just like hand drew out what I wanted it to look like. Now I didn't measure anything, so I'm just sketching it out. And so I end up using this actually as a pattern because I wanted to spray paint this with some silver, and I don't want any of the black lines to show through. So just trying to make me a little pattern and then cut it out again. If you didn't have the felt, I feel like you could use like the giant popsicle sticks and actually make like a real wooden blade and spray paint it silver, or you could even cut out a piece of cardboard. I wasn't sure about how well the felt would spray paint, but it actually worked really well. It still was really shiny. And then I got to work on the stocking itself. So the first thing I'm doing is using a Sharpie. Now I will be going over this with some puff paint to make it look a little bit nicer, but just gave it some stitching and then added some little holes for the shoelaces because I'm going to be adding in some ribbon next. I didn't want to cut real holes in this stocking because I still want it to be usable if you wanted to use it. So I only had wide white ribbon, so I cut it in half so it does shed a little bit, but I will take a lighter and kind of singe the edges of that a little bit later on. But I'm trying to give it that zigzag effect like it is tied over on the other side, so just kind of gluing it back and forth until I get all the way to the top, and then I kind of made like a loose bow that actually looked like someone tied their shoe to kind of hang from the top and just make it look more realistic. Like I said, use the lighter and just lightly singed off all of these like little pieces where I did cut it in half and then glued the bow down, but this already looks so much nicer, but it looks even better after I start adding in the puff paint. If I was going to do this again, I would use the puff paint before I glued down that big bow because it kept wanting to fall over in the paint. And I just made one of these, but next time I definitely will make a set of two. These look so gorgeous hung up, and you'll never know that this is like a 98-cent stocking. Next up, I am grabbing some of these little square mirrors and I'm going to make them over. Now, this didn't turn out exactly like I imagined. I kind of imagined leaving some of the mirror to be visible, but it just didn't work out that way. I mixed a tiny bit of white paint with some Mod Podge, and I expected when it dried to be a little bit more see-through, but it wasn't, but I went ahead and just went with it. I have done this in the past, just mixing a tiny bit of white paint, and you were able to see through it, so I'm not sure what happened. I think I just had way too much white paint. But anyways, it still turned out really cute. I made it to where you were still able to see some of the silver edges, but I feel like to give it some dimension, I added in some of these white snowflakes, and it still looks really elegant and gorgeous. But if I was going to make this again, I definitely would go a little bit lighter on the paint and glue mixture and make it to where you could see more of the mirror. And then I'm going to construct a little box, so this will make the perfect little floral vase. I wasn't sure about what to put down in the bottom to hold it up, but then I discovered that this square jar fit perfect, so this actually turned out really good. I just put the jar down inside and then filled it with my favorite florals, but I feel like it turned out really pretty, and even though it didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it, I still really like it. And now I'm adding some spackling to just a simple cardboard paper box that I found at Dollar Tree, as well as one of these glass vases. Now the first thing I like to do is give these a coat of chalk paint. This is not only going to give it a matte finish, but help the spackling to adhere rather than just like the shiny paper on the box or the shiny glass. So let that completely dry, and just getting my hands down in there and creating this fun textured look, applying the spackling all around both of these containers. And I've done this in the past. I did one for fall for like a high-end dupe, and it turned out so gorgeous. I knew I had to do one for Christmas time, and this is super simple. It looks a lot harder than it even is. All you have to do is apply it on there and then let this completely dry. I tried to go for a different look, so for the big one I just rubbed it all the way around, and then for this one I did more of like a vertical pattern. But these look absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to add in so much texture, which is really what you're going for whenever you are wanting to make like a custom vase. Of course, the chalk paint is going to dry with a matte finish, so spraying this with some gloss clear coat really elevates this look. It makes all that texture show up and looks beautiful. I just put a Dollar Tree arrangement in here of a few of my favorite stems, but love these tiny little Christmas floral pieces as well as the berries. And then for the small one, I stuck in a piece of styrofoam as well as some of these gorgeous picks that already has these red ornaments on there, and just filled them in with some LED lights. And this is such a fun lit up piece of the evenings that makes it look so cozy but so simple to do. If you're anything like me, you'll have extra Christmas signs on hand, and you can recycle these or put them to good use to create some fun winter projects. I like to take 2 signs, connect them together with these jumbo popsicle sticks that I pick up at Walmart. I fill in the little holes. You can use wood filler or hot glue, and then go ahead and paint this white. And like I mentioned, keeping more of like a neutral look. It just like makes your home so calming after all of the color and the busyness. My house is always so full after Christmas, so I kind of am relieved whenever I get to put up neutral decor that's a little bit more calming. Even though I love the Christmas decorations, but it always gets so stressful with all of the new toys and clutter that I just like to be as minimal and just kind of relaxing as I can after Christmas. Back to this project, this is one of my favorite hacks ever. After I got my signs painted white and let that completely dry, I just fold over a piece of sandpaper, and this I'm using like a straight edge level that I got from the Dollar Tree, but you could use any type of ruler or anything straight, but I love to just scratch the paint off so it looks like real boards, and this actually looks like a little palette sign. I also picked up one of these Let It Snow wooden pieces from the Dollar Tree. I just stained that with like a grayish color that I had, added these little wood beads to the top as well as some snowflakes. But how gorgeous is this sign? It doesn't look like Christmas at all, but perfect for the winter season. I love centerpieces or table displays like this that actually plug in, because you don't have to change out all of those batteries all the time. So I wanted to make a fun centerpiece. I picked up 3 of the Dollar Tree crates. I like these little flat ones. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint this with my dark elephant chalk paint and then sand it a little bit for more of a distressed look. At Dollar Tree, some of my favorite picks are these that have the different greenery. They have 2 silver ornaments on there, pine cones, berries. I feel like it's the biggest bang for your buck. You're not having to get tons of different types of picks and cut them down and glue them together. This already looks so gorgeous, and these little wooden crates make it so easy, so I can just push the stem through. They lay perfectly flat, and then I can just fluff up all of these little branches. So I feel like the ornaments on these are so gorgeous. Now these aren't on like the wall of floral picks at my store. They're like down in the cardboard boxes, like underneath the bottom shelf, so you have to look for them and kind of pick through and find which ones you want. You can see some of these come with silver poinsettias or flowers, and some of them just have the ornaments on there, so I kind of mixed it up a little bit, but I love those ornaments. And then I took a little bit of my leftover ribbon from earlier projects and just kind of twisted a couple of little loops and tucked that down in the bare spots, as well as some more little greenery. But I feel like this is so easy. Anyone can do this, and then you can go in and wrap it with some of your gorgeous lights, and this is going to look so pretty lit up. Make sure that you work your way around until the cord is in the back, but anyone can do this. It is using already put together pre-made floral picks from the Dollar Tree. Very inexpensive, but looks gorgeous lit up in the evenings. So cute. I wanted to try some candy canes, so I knew I could make these into like some mini ornaments, or you could even string these up on a garland, but I'm just using my silicone mat as well as my hot glue gun to just freehand out a candy cane shape. I did not get these perfect. I didn't even worry about getting them perfect, because after they cool down, I'm going to come back in with some scissors and just shape them up a little bit. I knew I would need a hole at the top to be able to hang these up, so I am using my hole punch, and it actually worked pretty good. And then just painted these with some white chalk paint. And then I didn't have any painter's tape that was actually really small, so using some washi tape, I come in and created some little stripes so that I can add in some Mod Podge and add some red glitter. And we all know that glitter can be a huge mess, so I'm making sure that I am applying a layer of Mod Podge over the top before I pick these up and actually display them on my tree. Next, I grabbed a couple of these Christmas circles, but they also sell just the regular crafty circles in the crafting section. But I went ahead and cut off this little ornament piece at the top, so I did get the perfect circle, and going to create a really fun sign hanger that you can make over to fit your decor style. But for this, I'm using some mineral color chalk paint to go ahead and coat the entire thing and let that completely dry. I had some leftover really fun like plaid ribbon that looked all wintry and cozy, so I'm going to be using that to create a bow for the top. I make a super simple double bow, tie that together with some jute twine, and then gluing that to the top. I really wanted to add some character and not just paint the words directly on the sign and look like they were just floating around. So I thought it would be fun to use some painter's tape and create a couple of different size like stripes on here that were going to be as big as the word I was going to use. So for the top one, I used like the silver lining bright gray color, and then for the bottom one, I used more of like a darker steel color, and then using some black stickers. I love playing around with stickers. I know they're going to peel off, but if you Mod Podge over them, they'll stay down really nice. And sometimes if your sticker is not even the right color for the project you want to use, I've even like painted over them and then used them the same way. So many ways you can put them to good use. I didn't have any large white stickers. I really wanted this to have contrast to it and look different, so I just freehanded it. I know freehanding like scares me to death. I do not ever want to ruin my project, but I feel like something like a 4-letter word isn't the worst to kind of just freehand that. Added in a snowflake and a wooden bead hanger, and I feel like this is perfect to put on the door.
Next, when making some winter projects, you can't go wrong just by adding in some like greenery or green trees. So I wanted to create a little stand where I could display some of the gorgeous Dollar Tree like fake little trees that they have out. I am using some of these little wooden pieces. I used 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones just to create like a little rectangular shape, and then glue these together. And then this is super easy. I just stain it and glue 3 of the trees in the bottom and add a little sign to the top. These are the bottle brush trees that I went with. They do have a little bit of the gold detailing on them. I would have rather them not just kind of been flocked, but I went ahead and went with it since it was still neutral. I feel like it still did not look Christmassy. I had this farm fresh sign. This did come from the Dollar Tree in a pack of little wooden words. I whitewashed over it, or just kind of brushed over that, glued that to the top. I feel like it looks really cool kind of hanging off of the top like that, but this looks really fun. I have it styled with some Christmas decor, but just alongside some like lanterns or snowflakes. I feel like this would blend in to be perfect. At the end of each crafting season, I always have a ton of these like metal containers or metal vases left over, these little planter pots. So I wanted to make this over. I had one that was like a random W, so I went ahead and painted over that with white just to leave a little bit of metal at the top and the bottom to add extra detail. And then using some window clings, which is one of my favorite ways to dress up a planter or a pot like this for winter time. I had one that had just some little evergreen trees as well as some deer. So stuck that on there with a glue stick and then Mod Podged over the entire thing so that these did not peel off. I feel like what makes these look so gorgeous is adding these little rope handles to both sides. I just tied knots in them, glued them on with some hot glue. You also could drill a hole, but these look really cute. Then you can add in any type of greenery that you'd like. Another fun way to use the same mixture is to pick up a candle ring as well as any glass container to make a fun candle holder. Now, Dollar Tree has these little mini rings, but they're kind of small for my taste. It just doesn't look really full. When you put it on this specific shaped glass, there's a lot of space at the bottom, but if you actually glue it down to any type of mini like plastic plate, I went with this clear version, you have a little bit of extra space to add to it and make it look more full. So I just grabbed some extra little floral picks that I already had on hand and just pulled the tops off and glued this around, and it looks so gorgeous. This is such a fun, inexpensive centerpiece that you can really put together and make it match your style. I filled the glass container with some of my Epsom salt, stuck in a little candle that's in the glass, and I feel like this looks so gorgeous. I love the pop of red berries. One of my favorite things to do with the Dollar Tree items is to make over the actual artwork pieces. They're already put together. It's super simple to do. For this one, I just added some little embellishments to the top corner, took my white paint, made it look like it had a little bit of snow on there, and then I'm going to be displaying this on one of those little like artist easels from the Dollar Tree, the little stands. They have these out and I love them. They hold up this artwork so cute. I added some little wooden pieces, but it instantly makes it over, but super simple to put together. A really quick way to add some ornaments to your tree is just to look for miniature little pieces. I found these little clipboards already put together. I just removed the bows and added in some Christmas ribbon, and this makes a great way that you can display photos or add just little decorative pieces to it, but I put these together so quick, just added a little hanger at the top. I have used these little paper boxes in so many different ways. They're actually different sizes, you can see, even though some of them have the same design on them. So I picked up a couple of different designs, and you can do any size that you would like. The first thing I like to do is actually replace the little ribbon handle. I feel like it upgrades it, makes it look a lot nicer than just being the little thin satin ribbon. I do have to take my scissors and kind of make a little bit of a bigger hole so that it fits in there and I can twist it so it doesn't fall back out. And then for the smaller one, I actually added some of this wood beam garland, which looks really good. It upgrades it nicely. And then put in my favorite little floral picks, and these are super cute to set around and just decorate your space on a budget. But you also can use just some regular tissue paper and fill up these boxes, and they are super cute to set around your tree or anywhere in your home before you have any presents wrapped, and it just takes up that blank little space. I love it, and it's like a really cute decorative piece. Next up, if you want a really easy way to decorate your door this season, grab a wooden circle. This one actually came from Target, but you can pick up any of the wooden circles from the Dollar Tree. They sell tons of these. This one was just a little bit thicker and nicer, so I grabbed it. And then you can pick any of the Dollar Tree wooden art or words that you like. I thought this Merry and Bright worked perfect, and even though it's a little bit bigger than the circle, it makes a huge impact and I love it. I painted it this bright red color, which really pops off of the white, and just tied in a coordinating ribbon into a bow. And this was so easy. You can see the longest part of this was just waiting for the paint to dry, but I love using my heat tool to dry it really quickly, so this takes no time at all. And then I just crossed my ribbon to make the fastest bow ever and tied this with some jute twine, glued it at the top. I did do some really short tails on this ribbon so that the wording would show up really good, but I think this is so cute and I love that pop of red color during Christmas time.